Hello again, everybody. This is Professor Alan Barrell again, continuing the story of a life's journey. Remember, we talked recently about the first part of my life journey when I had youthful vision to be a medical professional. I made some kind of progress in being a medical professional. Then, of course, I had a call to adventure and was just setting out on something different. And we're now going to look at the second phase of my career and a new motivation leading to something very, very interesting in an entirely different world. And eventually, when we do the third visit to my life, we will look at something rather different and to much more focus on an entrepreneurial life. And don't forget that really the issues that I would like you to get from this talk relate to creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, the importance of making changes and making good things happen. So at the end of part one, I was answering a call to adventure. I was on my way to be a great salesman. I was going to learn about selling, understand the global economy, travel the world. I was going to learn about living with competition and also learn a lot about marketing and hopefully begin to understand business finance and entrepreneurship. And I didn't know how much pressure there would be, but I soon found out that in the business world, there is a lot of pressure. So, crossing the threshold into a new world, and what a new world it was. That is the Chicago skyline. I didn't go immediately to Chicago, but my new company headquarters, Baxter Healthcare, were in Chicago. And I was on a new journey now, a start of a 20-year journey with Baxter Healthcare. I began working for Baxter in the UK as a salesman. And I had promotions. I became a regional manager, a national sales manager. The company was growing very fast. I went to Brussels to be the European marketing manager, back to the UK to be the director of marketing. Then I was invited to Chicago, to the headquarters, to work with the assistant and to be the assistant to the international president. None of this was fast. No, it might be fast by today's standards, but I'm talking over a number of years and I'm learning a lot as I go. But I did become the assistant to the international president. And I went to work in America. I traveled to South Africa, joined a joint venture and worked there. I was across America and I did worldwide travel. I went to South America and Asia. And then I was assigned by the company to study and learn about manufacturing and quality control because they had it in mind at headquarters that one day I might become a general manager. And if you're a general manager, you certainly have to know about manufacturing and quality control. I returned to Europe. I became director of North Europe of the company, including Scandinavia. And I was appointed managing director for the United Kingdom, North Europe, and Africa. I did studies for the MBA at the European Business School at INSEAD. You might think that I had a whole life's journey at Baxter alone, and indeed I did. I learned so much. But after 20 years came another call to adventure, and I changed industries. My passion for healthcare and medicine actually came with me to Baxter before I talk about my next call to adventure. Can you remember my hero of 1940s, Willem Kolff, the man who invented the first kidney machine that saved the lives of patients with kidney disease? He had joined Baxter before me, and he was in America by the 1960s. So there was the Kolf 1940 kidney machine. By the time I got to Baxter, they had invested in his technology and developed it into a sophisticated modern system. And you can see that system sitting beside a patient. And this system enabled patients with failed kidneys to have dialysis treatment at home, like this man, hopefully waiting until the day when they might be offered a kidney transplant. And there were many other life-saving products for hospital and home. So I wasn't leaving healthcare entirely. I was highly motivated. My new learning adventure also embraced marketing. I hadn't thought about marketing when I was in the lab. Now I had to embrace what is marketing. The three P's of marketing: products and services, pricing, promotion, and add to that distribution and market research. Working in the hospital, these were things I had not anticipated. And of course, marketing led me to try very hard to understand people, customers, and competitors more completely. Because marketing is surely all about pleasing people and hopefully enabling them to benefit by purchasing the things your company has to offer. Marketing is all kinds of things, and I learned a very great deal about marketing working for Baxter. It was a new language, and I was in a new world. And eventually, I moved to learn about manufacturing, about quality assurance, about regulatory affairs, and human resource management, as I became not a specialist, but a generalist. I'd exchanged my lab coat for a business suit and tie. And I had to work hard to get used to a life of business meetings and negotiations, and I had to learn to sell. I learned how difficult research and new product development can be. They can indeed. This is a rather humorous way of reminding ourselves of how difficult a task it is to make research succeed. And this little technology guy or engineer is telling his boss that only 1 out of 10 research and development projects will succeed. And the boss says, hey, I recommend canceling the other 9. But we know, don't we, that it takes time for research to complete itself if it does. And we don't know at the beginning of a research project or a number of research projects which will survive and which will not. And in my new role, once I got established in Baxter, I became chairman of the International New Product Committee, and I had to help with the decisions on which ideas coming in from around the world we adopted and invested in to create new products. It was at this stage that I began to appreciate the importance of imagination and also innovation and invention. And I've never forgotten the words that I picked up then, and I recommend them to you. Never forget them. Imagination is more important than knowledge because knowledge is limited and imagination encircles the world, said the great Albert Einstein. And here's a message from me at another conference at which I spoke because these words have remained with me forever. Innovation makes a difference and takes time and attention to detail. An idea is not an invention. An invention is not a product. A product is not a company. There's a whole process involved in making ideas into products. And then I started to think about entrepreneurship. What is it? I asked myself. Is it from a business manual, some big definition? I then heard about the story of this man, George Bernard Shaw, a great writer. And in his London house one day, he confronted a young man asking him stupid questions. And he got fed up and he said to the young man, stop! You look at things and ask why, but I dream of things that never were and ask why not? Why not people change the world? Yes, but people, hold things up. So I came to believe that we needed more why not people. So why not people step forward? So some lessons from my 20 Baxter years, starting with that big one. The imagination is more important than knowledge. Research, science and business can work well together, but one needs to understand when working as I did in an international environment, the importance of cultural differences. I learned that effective communication is at the heart of best practice sales and marketing, at the heart of everything about business, really. And I learned the value of developing international understanding, and I became absorbed in innovation and creativity and learned that they demand significant time and patience. And I also learned that interpersonal skills are vital for sustained organizational success. It was also true that I found out that the business world is tough and it can be brutal. And you know, creating a work-life balance is important but difficult. And I developed a family while I was in America. But another call to adventure came after 20 years to me, then a family man, actually had 4 children by the time that call came. And the new call to adventure was about changing industries and focusing on finance. And I'll tell you more next time about what this picture really means to me and how the new call to adventure developed in my life. So we're going to have even more calls to adventure in our next little part of this story, and a lot more on entrepreneurial thinking and development, the value of networks, ecosystems, and connectedness in business and academia. And in some ways, we're going back to the future, from multinationals to startups. So thank you so much for listening again, and I will be very pleased to see you again to tell you the final part of my story. Goodbye for now.